Hey folks, an early night tonight for Big Smooth. For some reason at the factory we got off work about half hour 45 minutes early, which I know don't sound like a lot, but when you equate that to getting to bed 45 minutes to an hour earlier, that's always nice. Makes for just a fantastic way to start the next day. So I seen something on Facebook tonight, and I was scouring YouTube for some stuff, and I seen something that was just, to quote a buddy of mine, ignorance gone to seed. Before I get into that, please give me a like, comment, share, subscribe. Love to hear from you guys. If there's things you want to know my opinion on, feel free. Sorry for the red light. I'm still in my work parking lot. Once I get out on the road, I'll turn on the dome light. I just don't want people thinking I'm texting and driving or whatever. That's a big no-no on company property. So anyway, getting on into it, folks. A couple days ago in the state of Kentucky, there has been a rather, we'll say, contentious Kentucky grand jury non-indictment of 3 out of 4 police officers in the state, or in the city of Louisville, I should say. I don't remember the charges that they were brought up on, but they couldn't bring murder charges on any of these cops. The only cop that got charged was a charge for reckless or wanton endangerment. I forget which. I apologize. I do know the difference. I believe it was wanton endangerment. I believe. So, I believe I've gone through all this before, but just gonna kind of try to recap real quick, and then I'll bring you up to speed on some of the things that I found. Okay, so the gist of what happened is that Breonna Taylor was killed by law enforcement back in March. I listened to various news sources and was kind of able to piece together the timeline. This entire investigation had been going on since, I want to say the 30th of December last year. Remember? No masks. So it's been going on for a while. This entire investigation has. And there were properly obtained warrants based on, probable cause of what they would find. They had executed warrants and done, I'm not going to go through all of it, but they had done their legwork to get to the point where they could lawfully execute warrants for search and seizure on various properties. I believe they were striking a alleged drug house in downtown Louisville, Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend's house. I don't remember where he was or where he lived. He was actually serving time in jail. The police had intercepted calls from the jail to Breonna Taylor, vice versa, concerning various drug pickups, drop-offs, things like that. Another thing that had happened is that Breonna Taylor's current boyfriend was involved in the, shall we say, illicit drug trade. Freaking people. I am sitting on the bumper of the truck in front of me, and dude's honking at me. And everybody got off at the same time, so traffic's backed up, and nobody's really going to go anywhere in a hurry. So this guy's just being a jerk. Anyway, so the police had done all their legwork, obtained search warrants for these houses. In one of the houses, they found a large cache of drugs, guns, and money, as well as other drug distributing paraphernalia. I believe they found that in 2 out of the 3 houses. Well, anyway, here's the stuff I found out tonight. 3 out of 4 cops were not indicted. I found out that what had actually happened is that Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, and I forget this guy's name, I apologize, I'm terrible with names. This guy had been in and out, had some felonies, was in possession of a gun. I don't know how they did that legally. But anyway, where it gets really crazy is the police show up at the house, knock on the door, announce themselves. They did have a no-knock warrant. Announce themselves, and this is not just police report, this is eyewitness testimony outside the apartment or next to the apartment hearing stuff. This is the testimony of her boyfriend as well. Got someone just run a red light up there, almost caused an accident. So this is multiple source testimony. Well, anyway, where this gets real interesting is the police show up, announce themselves, and shots end up coming through a closed door. The closed door to their apartment at the cops. Now, one of the things that I did manage to find tonight, and I will set a disclaimer on this, I was watching the Louder with Crowder show, and they had to clip it. Now, whether or not this is 100%, I'm not going to guarantee their legwork on this. This may or may not have been video doorbell footage from Breonna Taylor's place of residence. I don't know. Okay? So, I'm not saying that, but there was video footage that backed up the fact that people had shot through the door at the cops before the cops didn't break the door in. This video footage did. So, again, whether it's true or not, I don't know. The other thing that was alleged is that Breonna Taylor was asleep in her bed. She was not. She did not get shot in her bed. There's no blood on her bed. There was blood in the hallway of the apartment. I'm not saying that makes the death more or less tragic. I'm just saying that the early breaking stories that we heard about cops gunning down an innocent woman in her bed while she slept aren't true. She was out. Her boyfriend had fired at the cops. She was in the hallway. The cops returned fire through the door at the source of the fire, and she got caught in the crossfire, is what best forensics say happened. I'm not saying her death wasn't a tragedy. I'm not saying that her family doesn't have every right to be sad or upset, but my question is twofold. At what point is it okay for a cop to shoot at somebody, whether they live or die? At what point does it become okay? These cops took fire. One of them was shot in the leg. I don't know the extent of his injuries. At what point is it okay for a cop to shoot back? The cops hit 2 people in that apartment. The 3 cops that were at the front door, apparently, or 2 cops that were at the front door. They hit Breonna Taylor and her boyfriend. I don't know if Breonna Taylor had a gun on her. I've heard whispers that she may have. I've heard statements that she didn't. I don't know. I wasn't there. I haven't seen security camera footage, so I don't know. So, at what point is it okay for a cop to shoot a weapon at a person? My second question is this. I gotta go back and tell another story to ask this question. So, all this is breaking news. The grand jury did not indict 3 out of 4 of the law enforcement officers on this, as I've said already. Riots and protests have been going on in the Louisville area. What I understand is that last night there was an attempt by protesters to shut down the interstate that runs through one of the interstates that runs through the heart of Louisville. That was thwarted, thankfully. 2 cops have been shot. I don't know the status of the cops. I know one of them was shot in the chest, one was shot in the head. I hope that they were wearing armor and that the armor caught it. But I know that that's you can get shot in the chest by a 9mm when you're wearing body armor and you've still cracked a rib or 2. And you've got severe bruising. So I hope that everyone's okay. Second off, there's been violence and stuff in Louisville, and that's sparked, we'll just say, a outpouring of opinions on social media. A friend of mine on Facebook, known her for a few years, nice enough woman, know her husband fairly well, nice enough guy. We'll just say we don't sit on the same sides of political fences. This woman posted something on Facebook, basically backing the innocent woman murdered in her sleep narrative. And it's not an argument that I was wanting to have. We'll just say that. There's some that I am. That's not one I want to have. And I'll tell you why. I'm not particularly worried about her taking a beef with me. I'm more worried about people that are in the comments section and trolling and maybe trying to take matters into their own hands because things have gotten stupid. So anyway, I'm not saying much, but I'm just kind of scrolling the comments. And this one person said, okay, here's the police report. Here's sworn affidavits by witnesses. Here's the findings of the grand jury. Here's the findings of forensic. This person had done a ton of legwork on all this. And basically, this person's opinion was this tragic? Yes, loss of life is tragic. Was it wrong that the police returned fire into the apartment? No. That was this person's opinion. Is the death of Breonna Taylor and the injury of her boyfriend on the cops' heads? No. That was this person's take on it. And in a nutshell, this friend of mine on Facebook said that I've made up my mind. There's nothing that can come out that's going to change my mind. I stand with Breonna Taylor and the Taylor family. And I'm just like, what? And give you another case in point. My sister-in-law is a first responder in Louisville. She sent me some videos because she knows I work in the Louisville area. So this was a couple years back. I want to say 2017, 2018. I forget exactly when. But she sent me some videos of stuff that was going on. There was a black person that was killed by the police. The police had received a complaint, or received a 911 call rather, about a T-Mobile store being held up at gunpoint, and the suspect left. So they get a person matching the description, they chase this person, they're trying to just question the person. The person starts shooting at the police officers, running, shooting at cops. Guy catches return fire and dies. Well, it turns out, as odd as this is, that I ended up working across from on the factory assembly line, across from one of this person's friends. And I didn't know about it. And I'd watched the body cam footage, and it's grisly and it's disturbing. Stuff like that doesn't bug me real much. Or real bad. I don't know why. It just doesn't. And I'm sorry that I'm sorry that situation ended the way it did. I am. So, anyway, I watched the body cam footage, and this friend, and this is a year or so later, this friend of mine that I work across from on the line, we talk about everything, post something on Facebook that someone is suing the city of Louisville in a wrongful death case. And I'm like, what? So I comment, I'm like, did you watch the body cam footage on this? And they're like, well, no. And I'm like, well, you need to, because everything the cops did, while it did result in the end of a life, it's tragic. Everything the cops did was justified because they got shot at. And they said, you don't know this person's backstory, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, and I got blocked, and they cold-shouldered me for 6 months. But anyway, the partisanship behind the narrative is just unbelievable to me. If someone came out tomorrow and had sworn affidavits, video evidence, forensic evidence that Donald Trump was a murderer, rapist, whatever, where there wasn't political expediency behind it. Because that's happened. Someone's tried to drag the president through the mud before, or the nominee through the mud before, and turns out that he's a mud monster, and so nothing matters. You can't get Donald Trump dirty, because the dirtiest thing you can think of to throw at him, he's probably already done and admitted to worse. But anyway, I don't understand the dedication by the masses to preserving the narrative. It just boggles my mind. I don't get it. You know, if something's wrong, it's wrong. If something's right, it's right. I'm going to base my opinions on facts, and if the facts change, I'm going to have to change my opinions. Now, I might balk at changing my opinions initially, because, you know, I've known or thought this for a long time, and this doesn't, you know, things have been this way for a long time, so why would I change my opinions overnight? But as more and more and more and more evidence comes out, I'm going to have to reevaluate stuff. So it just does not make sense to me to buy into something so wholeheartedly that can be patently disproven. Anyway, I've gone on long enough, folks. The craziest thing I've seen on Facebook today. Y'all have a good one. Take care. Stay safe.